Hey YouTube, it's Callista. I just wanted to give you an update on what's going on. I think I finally got the microphone to work on my computer so that I don't sound really low and muffled. So as you guys can tell, I didn't have a very hot day. My hair is a mess. My face is extremely swollen. I actually had to wait for the swelling in my eyes to go down in order to look halfway presentable to make this video. I know that in my last video I mentioned that I would take you through everything, whether it was good news, bad news, every step of the way I was going to take you guys through my journey. Well, I went in on the 23rd and I had testing done that my cardiologist requested, and that was essentially a cardiac MRI. Now I'm just going to go over them just because in case somebody searches cardiac MRI, they can see exactly what the process is if they're going to go in for one. They sent me in and they put me up on the table. They put EKG leads on the left side of my chest as if they were going to do a regular EKG. They then put this like black coil that you'll commonly see it if you see somebody sitting for like a lie detector test. They put that, and it's for the same use. They put it around like under my bust, above my waist, and it monitors your lung activity. So if you start to breathe irregularly or you hyperventilate or anything, they can see that while they're testing you. They're actually monitoring everything. They then put this big chest plate over your chest, and they strap it to you, and it just looks like a giant plate with a big like cross in the middle, and it shows your heart set or your chest sectioned off in like 4 sections, and they stick you in. And for me, because it was cardiac, I went in with this, with my arms over my head, laying down, but it still made the whole thing. The whole experience was my worst medical experience that I've ever had in my life. And I'm so grateful my mom was there. She's anything that's ever had to do with any sort of surgery for me or anything. My father has never, ever been there. It's always been my mom. And she went with me because she's a trooper and she does that. And she was sitting out in kind of like a waiting room area, but I didn't realize that she could actually hear everything that was going on because it echoes in the part of the hospital we were in. So they had me in the MRI, and they took me out a couple times to rest my arms, and basically by the 2.5-hour mark, normally the test takes about 2 hours. Well, by the 2.5-hour mark, I went into panic mode and I started hysterically crying. I started hyperventilating, and none of this had to do with claustrophobia because I am not claustrophobic. I was just really freaking out. And they took me out, they let me rest my arms. Oh, I did forget to mention, when they initially put you in, the first 20 or 30 minutes, all they're doing is centralizing your heart to really get like a view of how it's sitting and where it's at. With me, after they centralized me, they pulled me out to rest my arms and I had to use the washroom, so they had to start all over again. And by the 2.5-hour mark of the testing, like I said, I was hysterical. They pulled me out, and actually my mom could hear me from where she was. She could hear me panicking and she could hear me crying. And they told me we only have about 8 or 9 more slides. The radiologist is looking at everything and she only wants about 8 or 9, or not slides, but pictures. And they put me back in, and it was about a half hour. And now with these tests, they can either do it with or without contrast depending on what they need, which is basically where they inject dye into your veins if they need to see anything via an IV. when they took me off, they got about a little over 1,000 images, and the only thing that the radiology tech was allowed to tell me was that everything looked very interesting to them, and that my heart was tilted. It's not sitting in the anatomical upright position that a heart should be, and that was all they could really tell me, and that was on the 23rd. It's now the 29th. I got my news. My cardiologist office called, and I remember in my last video I also told you guys he was my yay or nay whether or not I was going to have surgery guy. And his nurse called me, and I'm glad that she called me because she's very, she's a young girl, but she's just so wonderful. I want to say she's about my age, and will, she'll take you through everything, all the information she can give you, and, you know, any questions that I had, she had no problem answering. And she told me, you know, if we get off the phone and you remember something that you forgot to ask me, call me right back, ask me. Or if I'm not here, call me tomorrow, I'll be here, and ask me. So, the information that she gave me is that, and I'm sorry if I'm looking around a lot, I'm exhausted, and I have a million things going through my head, and I still wanted to get the video done so I didn't forget any information I was giving you. She did tell me that my surgery has been denied clearance per my cardiologist. Now, what he will do is he will refer me to a cardiac specialist / surgeon, and I am now going for 2 evaluations for that. They're going to be seeing what's going on and if they're going to put me in for cardiac surgery. And on the back burner is whether or not they will okay me to go in for bariatric surgery. So as of right now, I'm officially denied, punch to the gut. But the more information she gave me, the more angry I was, because all I really wanted to hear was, okay, you're denied. I didn't want an explanation as to why, because I only have one heart. This is not a lung. This is not a kidney. I don't have 2. I only have 1. And I've depended on these things to sustain my life forever. And basically what she explained to me was that I'm officially in cardiac failure, and that the way the human heart is set up, now I'm aware of how it's set up, but I'm just going to explain this. The way a human heart is set up is you have your, it's got 4 chambers. The 2 top ones are your atriums, the 2 bottom are your ventricles. Now, I've gotten 1,003 stories about my arteries, which are connected to pump blood through your body to these ventricles and atriums. And I have been told so many stories about how my arteries are not set up the right way, and because I never had this test, I didn't know everything. I just knew what they could see on a cardiogram. And what they were able to confirm is that my arteries are positioned correctly. All of them are in the right place. And they were also able to confirm that my heart is tilted, and they were also able to confirm that I have some really clear arteries. They don't see any clogging. They don't see any calcium buildup. They don't see any of that. However, what their concern is with the atriums and ventricles. Atriums are not an issue in my heart condition. My ventricles are. Your left ventricle pumps all the blood. It does all the work. My left ventricle didn't want to do it. It just said, to hell with this. So my right ventricle said, hey man, don't worry, I got your back. And it's had my back for 27 years, and I'm very lucky. But it's a lot. and it's getting ready to give up. And essentially what's going on is my right ventricle, the wall of it is thickening, which is causing my heart to fail. Like I said, I'm officially in cardiac failure. And what they read off of that is your ejection fraction, which is the amount of blood that your left ventricle pumps out. Well, because my left one doesn't do it and my right one does it, it's considered extremely abnormal. They were surprised that it did pick up the work, but it did. And I'm lucky for that. But it's getting hard, and it sustained my life for 27 years, and I'm very proud of it. But it's getting to where it can't do that work anymore. It's hard for it. So my ejection fraction is being measured from my right ventricle, and what we found out is that my ejection fraction, in order for surgery, needs to be at a bare minimum of 60, and it's at 40. Bare minimum function to still be considered normal or regularly functioning is 50. I'm again at 40, so my heart failure has begun. So now is the process of losing weight on my own. I still have that one minute, tiny, minimal, miracle of a chance for this cardiac surgeon to say, you know what, under certain circumstances I'll let, whatever. I have that tiny miracle sitting here that chance might happen, that they'll say okay, but then I also have a much greater chance that it's going to be denied. So in the event that happens, I will still take you on a normal weight loss adventure, and if it comes down to me doing it on my own with no surgery, I will do that, because this is what I signed up for. So I will do it, and I will give it about 2 years, and there will be a start day and all of that. But once I have more information, I will let you guys know, and whether this turns out to be wonderful or whether it turns out to be an epic fail, I'm gonna do it. So hopefully this information was helpful. The biggest reason that I did want to let you guys know what's going on is because there may be people that have issues, sleep apnea or diabetes or different things, that they want, minimum requirements with these conditions. And I'm lucky enough that I don't have diabetes. I'm sure I have sleep apnea, I'm fat, but I'm lucky enough that I don't have diabetes because it runs on my mom's side and my dad's side of the family. And on my dad's side, it's actually hereditary, but I am lucky enough that that is not something that I have. It actually skipped me, and I'll keep my fingers crossed that it stays that way. But I just want to I wanted to also let people know that bumps in the road happen, and nothing's perfect, and if this ends up happening, it's not the end of the world. But you just have to look for an alternative, and you can't just say, oh, screw this, I give up, because I'm severely depressed right now because of what I was just told. But it's something that I'll get over. This is not going to ruin my life. So, if I'm lucky enough that I can do it, I'll be amazed and in awe. But if I can't, it's just what it is. And hopefully this just helps anybody who has any condition that, could get in the way. And just so you know, to expect the worst, but hope for the best.